Glenn, should Senator Cornyn be worried about Hegar entering the race, especially considering she had a very close campaign with John Carter back in 2018?
You know, she's a high-quality candidate who's going to work hard. Is going to work morning, noon, and night. Without, you know, she's relentless that way. And yes, he should be worried. And there's other quality candidates in the race as well. This is an interesting year, however, in which everything may turn on what teams show up and vote. It's not so much going to be personality versus personality, although Cornyn is sort of lacking in the personality category. But I think it's going to be what teams marshal their forces at election time. So surprises could happen, and we've got to consider Cornyn a front runner. There's no use, disbelieving that. But she's got a good shot. She's a hell of a campaigner, retired Navy fighter pilot, and she campaigns like one.
When women, took these giant steps.
Should Senator Cornyn be worried?
Well, I think all Republicans up and down ballot are taking the 2020 election cycle deadly seriously, given the way the margins were in 2018. Now, I still think it's going to be a better year for Republicans. I think it's going to be a presidential level turnout, and it's a different type of turnout universe than you had in the midterms. That said, look, MJ Hegar waited till the last day to file. I think that's because she wanted to make sure Beto O'Rourke wasn't running for U.S. Senate. Look, if Beto O'Rourke concluded he can't beat John Cornyn, neither can the second and third tier candidates who are running for U.S. Senate right now. They're not going to have 1/10 of the money that Beto had. They're not going to be able to build, the movement that he built. And they're not running against Ted Cruz. They're running against John Cornyn, who's viewed much more favorably among the general electorate. MJ Hegar was handpicked by Chuck Schumer, the Senate minority leader, to be the candidate for U.S. Senate. They tried to really clear the field. That hasn't worked. You have a former congressman from Houston running. You have a councilwoman from Houston running. You have a state senator from Dallas running. They have a large field. And the single most important thing about that is that we're going to have a primary runoff, which means they won't have a nominee till May. It'll give them 4.5 months to raise general election funds. And that's going to put them way behind Cornyn.
Talking about the number of candidates, potentially 10 Democrats are going to be running against Cornyn. Why so many people running against such a well-known and fairly popular senator, Glenn?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to agree with that characterization about how well-known he is. He's been sort of an invisible man in Washington. Mostly what he's done is whatever the majority leader and the president have told him to do. He doesn't have an independent thought. He doesn't stir up the controversy that Ted Cruz stirs up. He's kind of an amiable guy. He kind of looks like like a TV personality. He's got that going for him. But I'm telling you, we got to contest every race every way we can. There's no use laying out of one. We got to get after it. If we're going to come back in Texas, we're going to have to take on the Cornyns of the world, and sooner or later, it's going to happen.
Ma'am McCoviak, how likely is it that Texas sees a Democratic senator for the first time since the early 1990s?
I think the odds are low. Remember, Trump won Texas by 9% in 2016. Cornyn already has $10 million in the bank. I think they're going to try to get that up to $15 million by May. He may raise $20 million through the end of next year. He hired Greg Abbott's campaign manager, John Jackson, to manage his reelect, one of the best operatives in the state. He's brought Steve Ministeri back from the Trump White House, a former very well-respected state party chairman, to serve as senior advisor. I'm telling you, the Cornyn campaign is running an outstanding campaign, taking this very seriously, building a statewide organization. And look, Senator Cornyn understands how important it is to run through the tape and win by the largest margin possible, given that he's at the top of the ticket along with President Trump and Vice President Pence. So he takes that responsibility seriously. He's going to run very, very, very strong, I think. We'll see what the political environment is, who the Democratic presidential nominee is, where the economy is. There are some factors that will contribute to the environment next fall. But I think Cornyn's in good shape. He's in strong shape. And I don't think Democrats are going to invest in Texas at the Senate level.
Okay, well, MJ Hegar is in. Got to wrap it up. Glenn, Matt, thank you both very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.